Welcome back to What's the 411 News, where we bring you news observation, interpretation, and news commentary from an FBA and BGR perspective. Let's get it. Welcome back to What's the 411 News. And we continue on with Reparations Month, all right, with the Real Reparations Movement. This is part 9 in our news special of the Reparations Movement, the Real Reparations Movement, and for Reparations Month, all right? So we ain't going to hold you any longer. We're going to get right into the video. So let's roll the video.
Coming to the stage, our next guest. This is a brother you all know and love. He's a mainstay in our Hidden Color series films. This is a master teacher who I love and respect so much from New York City. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for brother Kaba. Kaba now!
Didn't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. I hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off. Yeah, didn't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs. Yeah, hit the ground, then it go off.
Now, family, first may I say thank you for your time. As you mature, one of the things you come to realize, the most valuable thing you have is time. And everything that we're doing right now, in our time, is for a future time. It's for our children. And the theme I'd like to talk about is, where do we want to see our children in the year November 5th, 2122? What do we want them to have in 100 years? Everything. Everything. It's important that we understand this, family, to help us understand what we have done to make this possible. There are reparations all around the world. In Africa, they have a 10-point plan in Africa for the colonialism of what they've experienced. In the Caribbean, in CARICOM, they have a 10-point plan as to what happened to them in the Caribbean. For those of us who understand what happened when Africa was carved up in 1885 at the Berlin Conference, we understand what happened. England, and France, and Germany, and other countries of Europe carved up Africa and stole all of their resources and colonized them. In the Caribbean, they built up Europe. And here in the United States of America, Africans stolen from Africa built up this country.
That's right.
The hands that built the pyramids built the White House. I'm talking history. It's important for us to understand they're not giving us anything. We are just claiming what has been ours from the beginning. Not to mention the fact that the original indigenous people were black.
Say it again.
The folk that we know of today, with due respect, they are the 5th migration
That's right.
of humans that came to this part of the world.
That's right.
We were the first. The short-statured Twa and Mbuti people came here.
Yes, sir. Yes.
And they people this land. They are derogatorily called pygmies. But they are the original family of our world. They introduced the entire concept of Ma'at, justice and peace. They came here. And then came a second wave, who is called the Clovis Folsom. They were black.
All right now.
And then the third, the Algonquin.
Yes, sir.
They were also black. Then came the Inuit, derogatorily called Eskimo. And then came who we call the Asian invaders. And they came in such large numbers, escaping Genghis Khan,
Yes.
that they then took over the gene pool of this country.
Yes, they did.
So what was once black became red. This is history, family. There's evidence. See, I'm not into truth. I'm not really into truth because truth can change. Because yesterday could have been a very cold day, and that's the truth. And it's a fact. But today, the sunshine, we in t-shirts. That's the truth, and that's a fact. So it's the evidence that you have to go by. Because it's the science, the knowledge, the wisdom of who we are as a people that will help us understand. When we're dealing with these issues, there are certain issues that are not to be argued. I'm not arguing whether or not we deserve reparations. We deserve reparations, and we're going to get it by any means necessary. And while we're talking about any means necessary, let's talk about security. You can have the world in your hands, but if you cannot secure it, if you cannot protect it, you don't have it. You're just holding it until someone stronger than you come along and take it. You got to protect what you have. You have to secure what you have. So even if they give you reparations, you got to be able to protect it. You got to be able to secure it.
That's right.
And we have that possibility. Because what we have to understand, family, looking at this from a global perspective, they stole Africans and brought them here. Now, reparations. And when they brought us here, they enslaved us and made us work against our will. We built this country. We built the machines. We could not, because we were enslaved, we could not claim it, we could not have a patent on it, but we created them. And they got credit for it. Because who better to create the machines that's going to help what you do than the people that are working? That's the evidence. You in the big house and I'm down in the field, who's going to build the machines? It's the people in the field.
That's right.
And that's what we did.
The inventors. We are.
And down south, what was going on at the time is that the South was getting big money on the raw materials. And the North was having problems because they were the industry. That's where the actual factories, most of the factories were made, where the South had the raw materials. And pretty soon the South said, well, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't like this relationship, this 13 colony thing. And so they created what's called the Mason-Dixon line. And in creating the Mason-Dixon line, what they did was say, well, that's the North and we're the South. And the North began to put pressure on them because something happened, family. It's called capitalism. Capitalism is fueled by competition. And if you could buy a human for $300, or you would pay somebody 30 years, $300 a year, which would you choose if you are profit motivated? You would pick buying somebody for $300 one time. And so the North said, but you got to stop enslaving people. They said, why are we going to do that? They said, because we got to work together. And the South said, well, who need to work with you? I'm going to break away. The North said, you can't do that. The South said, why not? Because then that would break up the Union. Abraham Lincoln said it. He said, if I could keep Africans enslaved and preserve the Union, I would. That's evidence. He said it. And so the South said, but we're going to keep enslaving people. But you see, what happened is that they had to stop the enslavement of the transatlantic enslavement. Now, I know they tell you that they felt sorry, that they wanted to repair the damage. That's not why they did it. They did it because they gave so many guns to African people in Africa who were on their side, unfortunately, But we got some people on their side right now, so we shouldn't be surprised. We have to face the truth now. And what began to happen is that Africans began to fight the Europeans, and they could not enslave the way they used to. So they had to stop the enslavement process because they were losing money. And so what they decided to do was to now, they would breed the Africans in the United States, and that's how they were able to build up their enslavement, the Africans that were here, by breeding them and creating breeding farms. There's evidence and there are books on this. And then the South said, but we're not going to do that. We're not going to free our Africans. The North said you have to. So in the year check this out, family. In the year 1854, a man by the name of George L. W. Bickley, don't believe a word I say, Google this. George L. W. Bickley in Cincinnati, Ohio, decided that he was going to create an organization. And the people that were part of the organization were called the Knights of the Golden Circle. And what they decided to do was, from the Mason-Dixon line, they were going to go down into Mexico. They were going to go to Nicaragua. They were going to go to Cuba. They were going to make Havana, Cuba, the capital of the Golden Circle, where they were going to enslave Africans, keep enslavement going, and cut themselves off from the North. And the North said, you can't do that. And the South said, yes, we can. And not only that, I'm tired of talking to you. We're going to do it. And that is why the Civil War happened. They weren't freeing African people. They were preserving capitalism and the Union. Is evidence. And they were going to create a new United States. But it was going to include the southern part of the United States, the Caribbean, and Central and South America. And Havana, Cuba was going to become its capital. But listen to this. Check out the movie National Treasure, Book of Secrets. They'll tell you about it. It's of course fiction, but it still tells you about the Golden Knights. If you're into comic books, get Atomic Robo. Edition number 28, it deals with the Golden Knights. They were involved in the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. They were directly involved with the assassinations. Reparations is what we are going to get for all the work that our ancestors did. And when we get that reparations, we're going to do it in the name of our children who are yet to be born, because they are the best. And they come from the best. And only the best of the best could have survived. You are the best of the best. Our children are the best of the best of the best. And we're going to get that reparations. And if not now, then when? And if not us, then who? It's going to be now, and it's going to be us. And this is a continuation. So as I leave the stage, I pay homage to our sister, Queen Mother Moore, who years ago talked about reparations. In Harlem, I heard her. I pay homage to Cobra, the organization formed in 1989 to fight for reparations. No more games. It's time, family. Reparations now. Can I hear you say that? Reparations when? Now. Who? Now. Hotep.
Give it up for Dr. Kaba.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was Dr. Kaba Kameni. All right. He used to be formerly known as Booker T. Coleman. All right. And he got a little deep with some information to bring people in about why Black Americans here, foundational Black Americans, are old and need to get their reparations. If you got to go back and play it again and listen closely. Now, a couple of things he did mention about Africa and the colonization and them having a 10-point plan. And then he mentioned CARICOM, which is for the Koreans, and they having a 10-point plan as well. So with that, without him saying it like directly, he was telling you that was going on, to say that they have their own claims, the Africans and the colonization that happened to them, the CARICOM group, and having a 10-point plan for the Caribbeans. So the Caribbeans have their own thing, right? And so we have our own thing here with the government in America, right? And the companies, various banks, various schools, universities that benefited from Black enslavement, all right? So he broke it down. He got real deep with it. So you got to play it back again. Now, he mentioned him paying homage or respect to Cobra, but then Cobra has been real funny acting. And so I'm not too fond of Cobra because they're really about trying to do something else with the foundational Black Americans reparations claim here in the U.S. So I'm not too fond of them. But yeah, he got deep with it though. Like I said, things are heating up with the information, and without him having to say directly, hey, this is this, and that's why we need this. This is this, that's why we need this. He just went down a kind of a history or a story timeline, and broke stuff down when he talked about the North versus the South and Lincoln, and who was really involved in Lincoln's assassination and stuff like that. And for everybody or for those, whether you were in school, elementary school, middle school, high school, and they try to tell you this nonsense about Lincoln freed the slaves, try to make you feel good like he did something good for slaves. It was all a strategy behind it. He did it as a strategic move, not he felt it in his heart to just release slaves all of a sudden. He just thought it was wrong to do that. And so he wanted to release slaves. It was a strategy because you had the North versus the South. So it was strategic. All right. So with that being said, I appreciate y'all, man. Hit the thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. Shout out to all the brand new subscribers over the past several weeks and several months. I appreciate y'all, man. Tell others about what's the 411 news, man. And with that being said, no matter where you are around the world, you can always bet on the new Black media. This is What's the 411 News, and we'll be back again with the Real Reparations Movement Part 10. All right? We out of here. Peace.
Welcome back to What's the 411 News, where we bring you news observation, interpretation, and news commentary from an FBA and BGR perspective. Let's get it.